Welcome to this explainer. If you're over 40 and you've noticed that your mind just doesn't feel quite as sharp as it used to, well, please know that you are absolutely not alone. It's a completely common experience. But strangely enough, it's one we rarely talk about openly. We're going to take our time today, and we'll walk through this together. Because your brain, it is still capable of incredible strength, and it is deeply worthy of care. Okay, let's dive into this. It's the exact question so many of us secretly worry about as we get a bit older. Why does my mind feel slower? Why is it suddenly so much harder to just sit down and concentrate? Or why do I feel mentally exhausted so often? These are absolutely crucial questions to ask. Why? Well, because mental clarity affects practically every single part of your daily life. It impacts your work, your memory, your conversations with loved ones, and really, your overall confidence. See if you recognize yourself in any of these symptoms. Maybe your thinking just feels a step behind, or you really struggle to lock in and focus. Perhaps you wake up feeling mentally tired, even after getting what seemed like a full night of sleep. Or maybe you find yourself forgetting really simple things, losing your train of thought, and just feeling mentally overwhelmed way more often than you used to. When your mind feels like this, honestly, everything simply feels harder. It's like walking through mud. But acknowledging these signs, that is the absolute first step to feeling better. Section 1. A signal, not a diagnosis. We're reframing the fog. Brain fog after 40 is super common, but it's not something you should just ignore or accept as some sort of inevitable decline. We need to completely reframe how we look at this experience. So here is a really profound shift in understanding. Brain fog is not a formal medical diagnosis, not at all. It's really just a term we use to describe a collection of mental symptoms, things like fatigue, forgetfulness, and reduced focus. Think of it more as a signal. It's basically a biological alert system letting you know that your brain and your body need a little more support. It is not a permanent condition. And honestly, just understanding that fact alone can remove so much of the frustration and, frankly, the shame that comes with feeling mentally cloudy. To really get why this happens, we have to look closely at our environment in Section 2, the overloaded modern mind. We're talking about stress, screens, and sleep. Because modern life places enormous, truly unprecedented demands on our cognitive load. And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast between what our brains actually need and what they're actually getting. Look at a resting brain. Particularly when we sleep, it performs absolutely vital recovery work. It organizes information, it strengthens our memory, it clears out cellular waste products, and restores mental energy. Now compare that to an overloaded brain, one that's completely exhausted by constant notifications, chronic stress, endless mental multitasking, and rapidly switching between screens. Our human brain simply wasn't designed to operate under that kind of constant, unyielding overload. So many of us over 40 are struggling with these exact modern demands, often without fully realizing just how much mental energy they're stealing from us. A lot of us try to reclaim our personal time by scrolling on screens late at night, but we don't realize that this late-night screen use is literally robbing the brain of its necessary recovery time. Add in irregular sleep schedules and throw in the chronic stress from financial and work pressures, plus those endless phone notifications, well, your mental performance is inevitably going to take a hit. Which brings us right to Section 3, fueling your brain, the physical foundations for focus. Let's look at how our cognitive vitality heavily relies on our physical inputs and the choices we make every single day. Did you know your brain consumes about 20% of your body's energy? That's huge. Unfortunately, modern diets often give us empty calories rather than the brain-supportive nutrition we really need. We fall into these modern dietary traps like excess sugar and highly processed foods, which can rapidly drain our mental energy. But the great news is that accessible, nutrient-dense foods can actively support your cognitive health. We're talking about fatty fish rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, walnuts, eggs, and blueberries. These foods contain the exact nutrients associated with protecting and fueling your brain. Now, we definitely can't talk about nutrition without talking about water. Check this out, because it's a surprising but critical fact. Even mild dehydration can severely affect your concentration and your mental performance. A lot of adults simply don't drink enough water consistently throughout the day. Getting enough water and keeping your body hydrated is literally one of the most immediate, easily accessible remedies you can give your brain right now to support better focus. It really is that simple. Physical activity is another massive factor. Movement gets your blood flowing and helps reduce stress, both of which are closely tied to healthier cognitive aging. And please, be reassured here. Supporting your brain circulation doesn't mean you have to do some intimidating, high-intensity workout. Not at all. Even simple, gentle, and consistent daily movements, like going for a walk, doing some stretching, or a light workout, these powerfully support the overall blood flow to your brain. Moving on to Section 4, Movement and Mental Rest, the antidote to overstimulation. Just as we need to physically nourish the brain, we also have to protect it from constant noise, because stepping away is just as vital as stepping up. Here is a super simple, highly adaptable daily protocol you can start using today to help calm your mind. Step 1, hydrate consistently. Keep that water bottle handy. Step 2, move naturally to support your circulation. And Step 3, create periods of actual mental quiet. Moments entirely without screens, without the constant influx of information, and without any external stimulation. Just taking a simple quiet walk or finding a few moments for screen-free reflection can profoundly reduce the fatigue that comes from screen overload. Of course, finding balance is key. When life turns into this endless repetitive loop of waking up, working, scrolling, and sleeping, well, our mental sharpness is naturally going to decline. So while your brain desperately needs quiet rest to recover from screen fatigue, it also absolutely thrives on healthy, meaningful engagement to stay sharp. Things like learning a new skill, reading a good book, solving problems, having deep, meaningful conversations, or just getting out and enjoying new experiences. These are incredible ways to keep your brain active, engaged, and firing on all cylinders. Now, I do want to take a moment to calmly mention that certain underlying health conditions can also contribute to brain fog. Sometimes things like vitamin deficiencies, blood sugar imbalances, or hormonal changes can be the actual root cause. So if your symptoms are becoming severe, if they're persistent, or if they are actively disrupting your day-to-day life, it is always a wise idea to seek professional medical guidance. Getting a routine medical check is just an essential part of maintaining your overall mental clarity. And that brings us to our final takeaway in Section 5, your adaptable brain. Finding hope in neuroplasticity. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a really empowering shift in perspective. Your brain is remarkably adaptable. It responds directly to your habits, your lifestyle, and the choices you make every single day. I'd love for you to truly absorb this thought. Healthy aging is not only about living longer, it is about maintaining clarity, focus, energy, and quality of life. You absolutely do not have to assume that feeling mentally slower means a permanent decline is inevitable. That is simply not the case. The true key to protecting your mental clarity for the years to come, it lies in small, consistent improvements. Better sleep, improved nutrition, reduced stress, regular, gentle movement, proper hydration, meaningful mental stimulation, and, of course, dedicated periods of rest. These small lifestyle choices, when you practice them consistently, they really do add up to produce powerful long-term results for your cognitive vitality. So I'll leave you with this question to reflect on. What small habit will you change today to support your mental clarity? Just pick one. Because your brain is still so capable of growth, and it is entirely worthy of your care. Well, if you found this explainer helpful, please take a quick moment to gently hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this with someone else who might really benefit from a message of hope and clarity today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And remember, your mental clarity matters.